Srila Narottam Thakur Mahashai. Bhajan is called Shavarana Shri Gaura Mohima. You can find on your gadget. It begins Gaurangir Duti Pod. Gaurangir Duti Pod. Gaurangir Duti Pod. Pada. Gaurangir Duti Pod. You're right. Yeah. Yes. Gaurangera Duti Pada Jadhana Shampada 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 Shejane Bhakati Rasha Gaurangir Madhu Lila Ja Karne Praveshila Gaurangir Madhu Lila Ja Karne Praveshila Gaurangir Madhu Lila Ja Karne Praveshila Gaurangera Madhu Lila Ja Karne Praveshila Hridoy Nirmal Bhelota Gaurangir Namaloy Tad Hoy Premudoy Gaurangir Namaloy Tad Hoy Premudoy Tare Mui Jai Bori tare mui jai boli Hari. Gauranga gunete jude Nita Lila tare shure. Gauranga gunete jude Nita Lila tare shure. Gauranga gunete jude Nita Lila tare shure. Nita Lila tare shure. She jongo kotir adhikari. গৃহে বাপনেতে থাকে গৌরাঙ্গ বলে ডাকে গৌরাঙ্গ বলে ডাকে গৃহে বাপনেতে থাকে গৌরাঙ্গ বলে ডাকে গৌরাঙ্গ বলে ডাকে নরোত্তম মাগে তার সঙ্গ নরোত্তম মাগে তার সঙ্গ Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shri Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare cartel players slow down a bit. Getting too excited. Actually, the cartels they should follow. The cartels should actually drag on behind. Not that we have to try to keep up with the cartel. Cartel drags on behind. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Jai Nitai Gauranga, Jai Nitai Gauranga. Jai Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hare. Jai Sachinandan, Jai Sachinandan. Jai Sachinandan, Gaura Hare. Jai Nitai 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 Gauranga. Jai Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, oh Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Joy Prabhupada, Joy Prabhupada. Prabhupada. Oh, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Srisramanshara Abhachara Naravina Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Iskona Pratishtata Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Iskona Acharya Vrinda ki Shamaveta Gaud Bhakta Vrinda ki Shishinitai Gaud Shitanata Pramanande. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tadapada Gamanam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Shakarajatam Shahadavanatam Tam Shri Jiva Shadaitam Sangaratam Panditana Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Malita Shri Vishakam Vidaschana Jota Shri Gurumanda Chanam Kalimandan Namam Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shamada Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dinamani Namaste Saraswati Deva Gorvana Vishani Visheshashana Mari Pashtata Deshtana. This evening we performed Sankirtan in, we could say that probably the most important place in the three worlds to perform Prem Sankirtan, most important place. The Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you could say, was officially inaugurated here. The Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, officially inaugurated here on the Grand Road, in front of the temple of Lord Jagannath. The official inauguration. We can say that Mahaprabhu's the movement for delivering the entire universe. As Kaviraj Goswami says, Kali Juge Nam Rupe Krishna Avatar. Nam Rupe Krishna Avatar Kali Juge. No need translation for that? Bharat Bhumite Hoila Manusha Janma, at least speaking, Nam Rupe Krishna Avatar Kali Juge. Yes? Enough? Kali Juge, in Kali Juga. Nam Rupe, it's in the form of the name. Nam Rupe. But actually that's Kali Juga. The incarnation of the Lord in the form of the name is beginning in the Kali Juga, beginning Kali Juga. That's 5,000 years. Kalo nasteva gotir onnatar Hare Nama eva kevalam. Kalo. 5,000 years ago in that's Puranas. Brihad Naradiya, where are our learned scholars, graduates of Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, yes? Brihad Naradiya Purana? Yes? So it's Kali Yuga. But actually the movement of chanting the holy name, it actually began by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There was no movement of the chanting of the holy name, systematic movement. And this is, we hear the Purana, the Bhagavatam, the Purana says that, what is that? Harinam, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nashteva, Gotir Onnata, Gotir, the path of, that's the liberation. The holy name is the path of liberation. Bhagavate. Where are the learned scholars of Bhagavat? Where does it say that chanting the name of Krishna is the only good thing? Where is that? Bhagavat scholars? Oh, that's exalted. I Kali Yuga, the holy name is the only good quality. Yes. Yeah. So there's a little trick for to teachers. When you forget the sloka, you pretend to make a little. So I knew that. Actually, I did. Asti eka mahagunai. One good thing. Asti eka mahagunai. One good thing about this age. Kirtana deva Krishna sha. Kirtana deva Krishna sha. Tonight we chanted a lot of name of Krishna. And this Haraya Nama Krishna Yadabhaya Namaha. It's my mission to revive in ISKCON. Prabhupada said as important as the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He said another form of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But so rarely chanted. But Mahaprabhu Priya. And Mahaprabhu oftentimes he would instruct people to chant this mantra. Haraya Nama Krishna Yadabhaya Namaha. Yeah. Several occasions. As much as anyway, many occasions, several occasions Mahaprabhu instructed devotees to chant this mantra. Now in Navadvip, Mahaprabhu's preaching was informal. Udyalo Oruna Puraba Bhage Dwijamoni Goda Amane Jage Bhakata Shamo Halaya Shate Gelo Nogoro Grame. He would, in the morning, Bhakata Shamoha Laya, taking the devotees with him, Gelo Nogora Braje. He would go into the Nogor Braj, into the village and the towns. Tatai Bhajalokol Ghana Gana Tahe Jajeloro. The mridanga tapping and the kartals chiming. Actually, it is described by Vrindavan Thakur that these instruments were already being used for the worship of Bhavani. These instruments, the call and they were being used. So that's why they were available there. An occasional night nocturnal worship of Bhavani. So the instruments were there. So taking those instruments, then Mahaprabhu was creating the Sankirtan movement. In the same way we just read, it's almost like that you can become part of the Sankirtan movement. You can become actually this is pioneers. We're all pioneers in the Sankirtan movement. It's just beginning. Pritibite ache jota nagaradi gram. Pritibite jota nagaradi gram. However many towns there are. The chanting of my name will be heard. Now many places, people, they're not chanting. In many cities in this world, there's no organized Sankirtan. In many cities in this world, on this planet. Many cities, there's no Sankirtan devotees. Maybe one, but even in I visited my place of birth a couple of years ago. And maybe I'll never visit again. Still now I can't go. Not that we want to, but I went into that country. I had Shalagram Shila, worshipping Shalagram. If you want, you can come and see Shalagram Shila. And anyway, they stopped me, the customs people, and they're asking, "What is this?" And I said, first of all, I said, puja, and they kind of looked at me. They were like, white-skinned people in their 20s, young people. They grew up in the city I grew up in, same city. I'm arriving in that city. I get interrogated. You come the Jamai. Jamai comes home, he gets interrogated. And then first I said puja, and they kind of look at me, what? And I said worship. And I said Nepal, Kaligandaki. And they're still, and I said Shalagram. And then I said Hare Krishna. And they're looking even more perplexed. Actually, it pained me. It pained me that after we've been preaching in that city 50 years, actually, 50 years. Since the 1970s, Prabhupada first went there, Melbourne. And 50 years of preaching, and a young person never heard the holy name. Still, in that city, never heard the holy name. Didn't know what was Krishna. didn't know what is Hare Krishna. Juga Dharma, the process for the age, and particularly this mantra. Shlok Nam Bole Lai Mahamantra Shalanam Baitrish Akka Ei Tantra in Purva Bengal, Rajshahi, Keturi, on the bank of Podda Nodi. When Tapan Mishra inquired, what is the goal of life and how to attain it? And Mahaprabhu said, Shlok Nam Bole Lai Mahamantra. At that time, Mahaprabhu had, as we're mentioning, not official inauguration of the Sankirtan movement. At that time, he's just been married to Loki Priya. Not second marriage, first marriage, Loki Priya. And incidentally, he was away for 3 months. Loki Priya, she couldn't tolerate, and she gave up her body in Samadhi on bank of Maganga. So if you'd like to hear more of that, then I invite you, come to Navadip Dham. And we can discuss more on Mahaprabhu's marriage with Loki Priya, Vishnu Priya, Lila. Adi Konde, Gaurangir Sharva Shastra Jai, Tri Bhubane, Heno Nahi, Sheshan Mukohoi. Vrindavan Thakur was explaining Adi Konde in the Adi Konda, Chaitanya Bhagavat. Gaurangir Sarva Shastra Jai, he conquers all the scriptures. Shri Bhubane, Henu Nahi, Sheshan Mukohoi. No one within the three worlds is able to stand before him and dispute his explanations of Shastra. Adikonda. Vidulila. When he comes as a cow, when he comes as Krishna, he enjoys as a cowherd boy in Braj, in the dust of Vrindavan, with the Gopa Gopigan, taking picnic on the bank of Jamuna. He's Param Purushotam, he enjoys in his say. When he comes as Ramchandra, he's the ideal monarch, ideal leader. And when he comes as Gochandra, he's the crest jewel of the Brahmins, learned scholars, Dijamoni. Yeah. So in Mayapur, that preaching is informal, is casual. Devotees and it's the kirtan. The kirtan. Mukunda Madhava Yadava Hari. Bolena, Bolo Revadana Bodi. This is the full extent of the teaching. Mukunda Madhava Yadava Hari. Bolena Bolo Revadana Bodi. You enthusiastically chant the names Mukunda Madhava Yadav Hari as he's going through the villages and the towns in the mornings. Tatai Tatai Bhajalokol. Preme Dhala Dhala Shonada Anga Chodane Nupoda Bhaje. We won't sing it because it's an early morning tune, but Prema Dala Dala Shonada Anga. His golden body is quivering in prema, love of God. Prema Dala Dala Shonada Anga. Chodane Nupur Bhaje. Nupur, ching ching, ching ching, as he's going. Nitana Nitai Goshai. And Chaitanya Eshikane Shab Nadia Fiche Neche. So this is Nadia Navadip preaching, is dancing. And then this is the movement, is dancing. It's actually just, and the first year of the Sankirtan movement was behind closed doors. So then this is why we're talking about this now, because it is coming to Jagannath Puri. Then the style of Mahaprabhu's movement, his mission, it changed. Mahaprabhu, he left his Nupur in Mayapur. We don't hear the Nupur Dhani now. He becomes a sannyasi. Suvana Varna Hemango Varangash Chandanangadi Sannyasa Kriksha Shamaha Shanta Nishta Shanti Parayanaha. This is particularly significant verse in the Mahabharata because it explains that sannyasa kriksha, the Lord, he doesn't accept sannyas. The Lord, the Supreme Lord, he doesn't accept sannyas. The sannyas is the tapasya. And even the devotees were pained. We'll go to Danda Banga Nadi. We'll go to the river. Take bath there. Bring your gamsha. Where Nityananda Prabhu broke the danda. It's very painful. Just so we worship, you see pictures of Mahaprabhu. Gaurnitai, everybody affiliated here with Radha Rashmi Hari Mandir, mostly, everybody. And Attapur. Attapur, wow, already. The harvest is being reaped. Attapur is already harvest being reaped of all of the effort of the Sankirtan. I'm telling that story here and there. I'm telling that story. We're on the road in Ahmedabad, and there are people there. They wrap their head up. You know, it's like they're like Jedi Knights. They wrap their head, just the eyes on the bikes. Right? You don't know what a Jedi Knights? They're all looking blank-faced. It's good that you don't know. The heads are wrapped up, you know, the heads are wrapped up. And particularly in South India, you see on the scooter, they're all wrapped up. You know, they look like a knight, you know, they pull out the sword, you know. So a Jedi Knight. The ninja. Ninjas on scooters. South Indian ninjas. And they're on the road racing, and our devotees are there. I've never seen such a thing. I mean, we've had experience of Sankirtan, book distribution, but I've never seen that. A devotee is standing on the side of the road, and he's waving the book. He's waving the Bhagavad Gita, and the person on the bike stopped. Such potency. Such potency. Ichcha Shakti. This is Ichcha Shakti. That you can just stop people with the power of your mind. Stop. It's the power of the Sankirtan devotee. And the person, they stopped, they pulled over and they stopped. And then I'm watching. I couldn't hear anything. I'm just reading the body language. Nitai Mahaprabhu, he mentioned about teachers training. We learn to read the body language. Read the body language of the students. You can work out how long to keep going. Still, we've got another 10-15 minutes worth out of you. So I'm reading the body language, and the person's nodding, and then the devotee, his lips just went very close to the ear, you know, so that the kotamrit can get directly injected into the lips are close to the ear, and then various incantations and mantras. This will make you happy in life. It's the ancient Vedic literature. Yoga, peace of mind. Yeah. And then I see the person pull out the wallet, give the money, and they take the book and go. Right? So this is the effort. The Sankirtan, where it takes effort. After lunch, you can just lie down and sleep if you like. After lunch, you can sleep for hours. But instead of doing that, you take the personal sacrifice, and you go and make effort. We're all here because devotees made personal sacrifice. We're all here because of that. The devotees made personal sacrifice and brought us Krishna consciousness. In this age, no one's interested in spiritual life. Just interested in the phone. Just life has changed. I've seen it with my own eyes, that life has changed so much. People, the phone has become everything in life. The phone has become everything. Everything. They're not as bhogashaya prashaktanam taya parita chetasam. We're not interested in spiritual life. We're just interested in the update, you know, the software updates or the next hardware. I see the signs. It's like a spiritual thing. It's a transcendental signboard. You know, it's got iPhone 13, right? It's just like people are just they're worshipping. It's like mystical. It's like mystical. It's like whatever you want, you can get. Organize your whole life. Anyway, so people are not interested. So the effort. Therefore, Krishna says, "Ya yedam paramam gujan madbhakteshu abhidashiti." One who explains Krishna consciousness to others. Bhaktim mayi param kritva. Bhaktim mayi param. That type of service, when you explain Krishna consciousness to others, like ideally the distribution of book. That's the most powerful, most direct way of explaining Krishna consciousness to others. Of course, the trick is that you don't have to explain on the spot. You just have to get the book. You just have to get them. The immediate objective is to get them to take the book. That's it. Don't need to explain more. Any additional explanation beyond that which will induce them to take the book, unnecessary. Just because when they take the book, then that's it. All the explanation, everything. Yashmin prati shlokam. Even they read a little of the book. Even they read a little. I have an example of this. I was becoming devotee, and I had friends at college. I wouldn't even give it the honorary title of college for these people. Anyway, we had our friends. We were students. And I was saying, and we had the book, the Coming Back, famous book, Coming Back. You have it? Yeah. Coming Back. Such a powerful book for preaching. And the edition we had an old man walking in the door and then a young person coming out on the front. It's a powerful book. You know, reincarnation in the Western countries, that's a radical... Now everybody understands. So on the news, CNN, BBC, they'll say karma, they'll say pandit. You think they'd say those words for 40 years ago? They wouldn't allow you to say Indian words like that in the Western media. Pandit, they say. They say guru, they say karma. And all the mainstream news, the karma. The world has changed so much because Prabhupada came to this planet. But when I was young, reincarnation, people thought that no one accepted that. And now more than 50% of the people in the West, they karma, reincarnation, life, birth after birth. It's a result of Prabhupada's books on the planet. In 50 years, so much has changed. Even when I was young, vegetarianism, no one was vegetarian in the Western countries. No one. No vegetarian restaurant. And now, so many people, yoga, vegetarianism, karma, pandit, all of this is Prabhupada's books, the movement. So anyway, this person, I was talking about Krishna consciousness, and my friend said, "Yeah, I got those books, yeah, but I didn't like them." He said, because he said on every page it says you have to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. That's right. He said on every page it says you have to chant Hare Krishna. So there's an example. Just even you read one page can change your life. One line. That person chanted the holy name. So therefore, the distributing in the books, Krishna says, Bhakti Mai Param Kritva. That's the topmost way of serving Krishna. Bhakti Mai Param Kritva. You are doing the topmost way of pleasing me. This is the secret. This is the secret. Because even by sadhana and puja, we're full of offenses. We're full of offenses. We don't really have the acumen. We don't have the qualification for the Lord to really, with our puja. Not that we don't do puja, but if you really want the fast track, then you share Krishna consciousness with others. And you really want the express way of sharing Krishna consciousness with others is distributing books. These are the secrets. So in any case, there's so many places where the holy name is not heard. So Mahaprabhu was preaching there in Nadia. Yeah, we're saying we're worshipping Nitai Gaur in our deities. We're tasked to Juhu and Attapur. We're going on the Attapur. There's Nitai Gaur in our temple. We're worshipping Nitai Gaur. We're worshipping. And they are beautiful. Gauchandra. He's beautiful, the shining moon, Bahukoti. What is it? Bahukoti? No. Chandra Jini, Badana Ujjal. Bahukoti Chandra Jini, Badana Ujjal. And we sing this. Koti Chandra Shushitala, Nitai Pada Kamal. Koti Chandra Shushitala, Nitai Pada Kamal. The lotus feet. You see Sri Radhika's lotus feet, you see one day a year, one day. Yeah, and even that's not allowed. That's actually GBC law against that. Yeah? It says you're not allowed. But no, even in Mayapur, head Pujari says, I don't care for this GBC. You see Sri Radhika's lotus feet on Gopastami. But Nitai chant every day you can see. Koti Chandra Shushital. Koti Chandra like millions of moons. Koti Chandra Shushital. And you're so fortunate in Radha Rash Bihari Mandir. You have Prabhupada's such a special temple, and you're so fortunate. Prabhupada's so present there, worshipping Radha Rash Bihari. Nitai Gaur Chandra. But we're worshipping them, and a beautiful, and what we were discussing last week in Mayapur, Mahaprabhu's sannyas, and the devotee said, how will we decorate your hair? How will we anoint your hair with this fragrant oils and the flowers? And where will we see your moon-like face with the long black locks of hair cascading down your broad lion-like chest? This Go Chandra, Navadeep Chandra. So his taking sannyas is very extraordinary. It's very extraordinary. He doesn't have to do that. Just imagine Krishna taking sannyas. We can't conceive of it. Why would he do Krishna taking sannyas? But Mahaprabhu is the same. He comes and takes sannyas. That's why it's particularly extraordinary. And then, why he takes sannyas? He takes sannyas because for this purpose of inducing the people to take to the holy name, inducing them. And even it's described that he went to Katva, he took sannyas, and then he's wandering Radha Desh, then already there's thousands of people following him. Already, just immediately after taking sannyas. So what I was thinking about this evening was that Mahaprabhu took sannyas and then came to Puri. Now, from tomorrow, I think tomorrow evening onwards, we'll be discussing the journey. We're reading from Chaitanya Bhagavat. We'll discuss the journey from Bengal to Jagannath Puri, and some of the interesting events that happened on the way as described by Vrindavandas Thakur. We're reading from the Anto Lila, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, chapter 1, tomorrow night, chapter 1. And then chapter 2. And then we'll hear about his Dandabhanga, when Nityananda Prabhu breaks the Danda. So we'll hear about that next 3-4 days in detail. Many interesting things. And then Mahaprabhu comes to Jagannath Puri. And then, I think last time we were here, we were discussing Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the deliverance of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. We discussed that here when I was here. Maybe that was 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, we did. Huh? Yeah, discuss. So that's there. But prior to that, now we're going to discuss what happens prior to that. Mahaprabhu comes to Jagannath Puri. And then he delivers Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. I think we're going to his house tomorrow or the next day. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya house. We're going there. I saw it on the schedule. Now, of course, this is very significant, because the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he is the most influential academic in all of Hinduism at the time, being the Shikha Guru of the king of Puri. He's the Shikha Guru of the king of Puri. And, he's such an influential person. Just holding such a post of influence. And then Mahaprabhu, he comes, he's a sannyasi. So had he not been a sannyasi, well then he wouldn't have come anyway. He would have just stayed in Navadip. He wouldn't have left.
But then he immediately, being a sannyasi, he attracts the attention of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya as soon as he arrives in Jagannath Puri. And he's lying down unconscious. You see, Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas because simply by seeing him, people will be impressed. That's why he accepted sannyas. Tobe more deke shei dhoribe charan, e mate udharibo shakal bhuban. He's explaining to Nityananda Prabhu why he accepted sannyas. Tobe more deki, when they see me, shei dhoribe charan, they will hold my feet, they will fall down at my feet. E mate udharibo shakal bhuban. And in this way I will deliver the entire universe. Even they don't know who I am, or they don't know the Sankirtan movement, just because I'm a sannyasi and they show respect to me. And if I don't take some sannyas, they're criticizing me, the students are criticizing me, and then for this they'll be condemned. So I have to take sannyas. And then similarly, the same strategy is there, that when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya sees the young sannyasi, he's not speaking, he's not hearing him speak. Why is he impressed? He sees him, he sees his form, he sees his sannyasi, he sees the shaven head, the renunciation, such a young man, Gauranga. He's 7 foot tall, he's extraordinary figure, and when he's a sannyasi, then he looks even more extraordinary. Actually, our Gargamuni Prabhu, you know Gargamuni, he lives in Vrindavan. He and his brother were 2 sannyasi disciples of Prabhupada, very special. Prabhupada, so much affection for Brahmananda and Gargamuni. I think he was 16 years old when he joined in New York. And so he was the first white person devotee to go to Bangladesh. He told me he went in 1970, just when there was war at that time, East Pakistan war. So he said that at that time, Bangladesh, he said there was hardly any sealed road. Hardly any. He said they landed at the airport. It's a military airport. I've seen that airport. It's a new airport now, not so new, but. Then there was nothing, it was a military airport. He said that from the airport to the center of town was not sealed road. It wasn't sealed road. And they had to walk. There's no cars. And he said they were young sannyasis. Gargamuni, he's maybe 6'4". He's a huge man. You can imagine a man 6'4" in Bengal. He's twice as big as any other average sized man. Yes. I mean, they're not so tall in Bengal, men, not so tall. I mean, Prabhupada was very short, 5'2", 5'3", something like that. Can you imagine the 6'4", huge man, 18 years old, and they're in sannyasi dress. They arrived in Bangladesh in sannyasi, full sannyasi dress. He said with saffron backpacks, saffron backpacks, and danda. And they went. And he said they're walking. He said the crowd, the thousands of people gathered around them. He said by the time they were in the center of the town, there was 5,000 people. He said that they thought that Nitai Gaur Chandra had appeared again in Bengal. They weren't speaking anything, but just when they see the sannyasi, they see. So Mahaprabhu, the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he saw and then Mahaprabhu preached to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Within a short time, delivered him. Just imagine Mahaprabhu's preaching, how powerful. I mean, these insignificant Mayavadis, that you find on the street here and there, we can preach to them for hours and hours, you can never convince them. And he's the guru of all the Mayavadis. And he became such a devotee that even the word mukti, he couldn't even say it. He became so averse to the word mukti. That Ridvagvapabi Vidadhan Namaste Jiveta Sho Bhakti Pade Sadoyabhak. Bhakti Pade? Mahaprabhu said, you've changed the verse, you've changed the word. It's Mukti Pade. And he said, no. I cannot say that word. He became such a devotee, he cannot even say the word mukti. But Mahaprabhu, he didn't remain in Jagannath Puri, he didn't remain. He left, a few weeks only, 4 or 5 weeks. After delivering Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, then he left South Indian tour. Such a burning desire to distribute the holy name and inundate all of South India with love of Godhead. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that actually the full potency, the full manner, he didn't say potency, he says the full prakash, the full revelation of Mahaprabhu's mercy was shown in South India, even more than in Navadip. Because in Navadip there was some consideration, the smartas, the students, the atheists, they were not permitted into the kirtan. But in South India, Mahaprabhu's touring, Patra apatra bicha nahe nahishtan ashtan jai jaha pai taha kore prem dhan jai jaha. Anyone who saw him on the path and gets love of Godhead. Just seeing him dancing on the path. So he immediately, after sannyas, very quickly, he went on that South Indian tour and established, Ramananda Roy, Ramananda Sambad, so important, and Ramananda Roy came to Puri and became a very intimate associate of Mahaprabhu during the final 18 years as he resided in Puri, Rai Ramanand. And then Mahaprabhu preaching Korma Brahmana and preaching in Sri Rangam to Sri Vaishnavas, Udupi to the Madhvas, and establishing all of the key precepts of his teachings to the South Indian Vaishnava Sampradayas. Very important. And then you'll find that Chaitanya Mat in Navadip, you'll see that Shri Thakur, whose disappearance day was a couple of days ago, then he has in his Chaitanya Mat, which is the headquarters of Gaudiya Mat, you'll see that the 4 Vaishnava Sampradaya acharyas are there in that temple. So this South Indian tour, Mahaprabhu preaching to the Vaishnava Sampradayas is very fundamental component of his mission. Immediately he fulfilled that after taking sannyas. So the point of what we were discussing this evening, what happened on the Grand Road here, I was reflecting on that Mahaprabhu came back from after 2 years, he came back from South India. And then I believe we're going to Alalanath tomorrow? Yes. Okay. So Mahaprabhu, during the Anabarsha time, when Lord Jagannath is renovated after Snan Yatra, so it was very painful for Mahaprabhu to remain in Jagannath Puri at that time, not taking the darshan of Lord Jagannath. He's just come back from South Indian tour, and it's a few days before Snan Yatra. He sees Snan Yatra, he's very happy, and then Lord is gone into retirement. Mahaprabhu is very pained. Alalanate Gopi Bhave, he goes in the mood of the Gopi's mood of separation, he goes to Alalanath. You can see the Prem Shila, where he lies down paying obeisances to Janardhan Vishnu, who he sees has Lord Krishna non-different from Jagannath. So he's there in Alalanath, and then he'd arrived back from Jagannath, he arrived back from South India. Who was accompanying Mahaprabhu in South Indian tour? Kala Krishna Das. Yeah. So Kala Krishna Das, he was sent to Bengal when Mahaprabhu got back. He was sent to Bengal to inform the Navadip devotees that Mahaprabhu has returned from South Indian tour. Because naturally they're all of a sudden he takes sannyas and goes. Navadip Chandra, with whom they were completely absorbed in his divine association as a daily affair. Just imagine the lifestyle of the Navadip Basis. That in the evening they would all assemble in the house of Srivas Thakur, and then the kirtan would begin. Bakashar Pandit, Mukunda Datta would sing, and Nitai Gaur Chandra would dance in the house of Srivas Thakur, and the Vaishnavas were participating in those kirtans. Actually, those of you students, we were dancing in the Srivas Thakur, Srivas Angan in the last visit to Mayapur, that place. And then at night they would be doing Sankirtan with Sachinandan. And in the day they would see him going here and there, taking bath in Ganga, at home. He was like their towns. He was there in the village. He was there, and he's the supreme shelter of all beings. They're enjoying so much. What more? In fact, if you keep chanting Hare Krishna, then eventually you'll enter into that Navadip Lila and you'll be with Mahaprabhu doing Sankirtan. It's called Nitya Lila. It's still going on. And then all of a sudden, Mahaprabhu, he cuts it off. He didn't tell people. All of a sudden, he takes sannyas. He tells a few people. He tells Gadadhar Pandit Nityananda Prabhu. And then he goes to Katwa, take sannyas. And then they don't even know, actually, tomorrow we'll begin. First we'll be describing the effect that Mahaprabhu's sannyas had on the residents of Navadip. We'll be describing. Sachimata, Advaita Acharya, how they were affected. And then at least there was some appeasement in Shantipur, because Mahaprabhu stayed there for 10 days. He'd taken sannyas and gone, and he was going, and then let's spend time in Shantipur. And then they all came. He was a sannyasi then. He was a sannyasi. They did a festival every day, Sankirtan, Harikotha, Prasadam, Shachimata cooked every day. And then Mahaprabhu leaves for Jagannath Puri, and the detailed description of that we'll be discussing. So then you could, the Navadip Basis, they went home. Mahaprabhu in Shantipur, 10 days, he leaves for Jagannath Puri, and they just go home. And then, what's life like in Navadip without Gauchandra, without Navadip Chandra? They're just constantly pained without his association. So then they get news from Kala Krishnadas that Sachinandan has returned from 2 years of South India. And Kala Krishnadas, he approaches Advaita Acharya, pays obeisances, gives him the Mahaprasadam of Lord Jagannath, and tells him Mahaprabhu has returned. He approaches Sachimata, he pays obeisances, he gives her the Jagannath Mahaprasadam, and then gives the news. So you can take, you're here in Jagannath Puri, you take Jagannath Mahaprasad, you take with you, you go back to your place, you give that to the people, your neighbors, your friends. That will be such a benediction for them. You give them the Jagannath Mahaprasad. He carried all the way to Bengal just to give them the Mahaprasad of Lord Jagannath, and then give the news. He's not going without the Jagannath Mahaprasad, and he's walking. So immediately those Navadip Basis, they made arrangements to come to Jagannath Puri. In fact, it was for that reason that Mahaprabhu was residing in, he decided to live in Jagannath Puri, so that every year the devotees from Bengal could come. Because if he had gone to Brajabhumi, then they're not going to come. Who's going to go? Vrindavan. It takes 3 or 4 months. Jagannath Puri and Oriya Goriya, not so far. we all just came in the flight one day. Leave Mayapur in the morning, you're in Jagannath Puri in the evening. So anyway, they were walking 1 month. So then the first arrival, they all got the news, and then the first arrival, they arrived. I think your Sankirtan bus is passed in Narendra Sarobar. I was astonished to hear this news. I said, who is the leader of this Sankirtan party? What a transcendental intelligence. It's poetic. It's the Sankirtan body. And the Sankirtan bus is a representative of Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. And the Gauda Bhaktagon, they come from they come from Bengal. They arrive in Jagannath, they come to Jagannath Puri. They would first go to Narendra Sarobar and they'd wait there on the lake of Narendra Sarobar. And when I saw the Sankirtan bus waiting on the banks of Narendra Sarobar, it's such a Gauda Bhaktagon. The Sankirtan, you can ride on the front of the Sankirtan bus, Gauda Bhaktagon. From Bengal, Gauda Desh. And the king and the guru, the king and his guru, at this time Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he's already devotee of Mahaprabhu. And he's telling the king about, the king already, he wasn't there when Mahaprabhu arrived first time and went to South India. Prataprujama wasn't there. So now he's come back, the king's here, but he still hasn't seen Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu went to Alalanat. And then they're wondering, and then the king's saying to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, how can you bring him back from Alalanat? Why did you let him leave? Why did you let him leave Puri? How to bring him back to Alalanat? And at that time, Gopinath Acharya, he comes into the palace. This happened just here, probably just here. Where's the king's palace? Maybe just where this hotel is. Where's Prataprujya Maharaj's palace? Just over the road, I think. And it's just here. Just happened here in this place. Gopinath Acharya, he comes and he says, Gauda hoite Vaishnav, Ashiyachin Dui Shatta, Mahaprabhu Bhakta Shab, Mahabhagavata. He announces that Dui Shatta, 200 devoted, Gauda hoite, from Gauda Desh. Gauda hoite Vaishnav, Ashiyachin Dui Shatta. 200 devotees have arrived from Gauda Desh, and they are assembled on the banks of Narendra Sarovar. Mahaprabhu Bhakta Shab, Mahabhagavata. They're all devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all greatly advanced, Mahabhagavata. And they were coming, and then they had arrived on Narendra Sarovar, and then they're coming to the residence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gambhira, walking down this grand road, doing Sankirtan. Their traveling spirit is not like us, we're running and did you pack the tiffin and then this and that and what else? And you have Aadhaar card, you have your Aadhaar card and then your phone, you charge your phone, and then everybody tense. And I travel, I always go early. People say, Prabhu, onek chamoy, you have so much time. No. Everybody is so much tension when they're traveling. They're all every line, they're there. Every line. You get into airport, you get baggage scan, and then the check-in, and then security. Every line is the same thing. I'm on my flight now. So how can you suffer such tension? If you travel a lot, you have to be well in advance. So they're not traveling like us. They're just doing Sankirtan the whole time. They're doing Sankirtan. They're traveling, they're doing Sankirtan. It's like we were Parikrama. They're a whole way from Bengal like that. That's their journey. And then they're coming down the main road, and then the king of Puri, he sees that Sankirtan. Ache prem, ache nitto, ache hari doni, kaha nahi deki, ache kaha nahi shuni. He's astonished. And Prabhupada's commenting that even now there's so many Sankirtan parties on the Grand Road here. You can hear every day, at least 4 or 5, what to speak of 500 years ago. And you imagine the Sankirtan parties 500 years ago. But still the king is astonished hearing this Sankirtan of the Gauda Bhaktagan, Mahaprabhu's associates, hearing their Sankirtan. Ache Prem, he's saying, Ache Prem, such love in the Sankirtan. The Sankirtan is expression of love. The Sankirtan dancing and chanting is expression of love. It's Gaur Mahima. It's Krishna Mahima. We're cloring. The name is non-different. The name is the avatar, the Juga avatar, Nam Rupe. We chant the name out of love. That's called Prem Sankirtan. Ache Prem, such love. Ache Nitto, such dancing. Nache Gao Bhakti Shange, Koro Sankirtan. This Nitto, this dancing, is fundamental order of Mahaprabhu's followers. There must be dancing. Mahaprabhu is ordered to dance. Nache Gao Bhakti Shange, Koro Sankirtan, Ishwar Puri, ordered Mahaprabhu. At time of initiation, Krishna Nam Chapashara, E Mantra Shah, you chant the Hare Krishna mantra all the time. And then he says, Nache, dance, Gao, sing, Bhakta Shange, in association of devotees. Koro Sankirtan. Yeah, the pandemic and all that was, we set up our internet preaching and all that, but Bhakta Shange, nache, how can you dance? Can't dance. So we're so enlivened to be able to, so many Bhakta Shanga, and we'll do nritta, we'll do dancing and chanting, Bhakta Shanga. Koro Sankirtan. And so they're dancing, Ache Prem, Ache Nitto. Imagine Advaita Thakur dancing, imagine, with his dhoti tied and his uttari. Advaita Thakur, he's an aged gentleman. Would you like to see Advaita Thakur dancing? I mean, that would be something to see, right? Advaita Thakur. Wow. Imagine him dancing, the Thakur. And beside Haridas Thakur was there, Garadha Pandit, all the associates. They're listed. I've given the class on that on many occasions. And the names are all mentioned, the names. And the king is astonished. The king of Puri, he's making this announcement. This, you could say, is the official inauguration, the inauguration of although Mahaprabhu was preaching in South India. But then he was on his own, actually. There's one or two associates. But the Sankirtan, the Gauda Bhaktagan, and then the Puri pastimes, Mahaprabhu, Bhaktagan, Shange, Jagannath Puri, Lila. This is, the devotees from Bengal come every year and they perform pastimes with Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. Ache Prem, Ache Nitra, Ache Haridoni, Kaha Nahi Dekhe, Ache Kaha Nahi Shuni. I've never seen such kirtan, I've never heard such kirtan. The king of Puri is, as they're coming down this grand road here, he's announcing, he's declaring, it's the official statement of the king, the decree that this is the most exalted. I've never seen such performance. Bhattacharya kohe, ei modur bachchan, Chaitanya Shrishti, ei prem sankirtan. And the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he replies, that Bhattacharya, ei modur bachchan, this sweet sound of the Sankirtan. Ei modur bachchan, is Chaitanya Shrishti. Chaitanya Shrishti is creation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prem sankirtan. Prem sankirtan. The title, the inauguration by the king of Puri and his guru, this is the Prem Sankirtan movement. Come to Jagannath Puri. Hare Krishna. Is there any question?
Stayed in Puri because his mother requested him to stay in Puri so that he can always hear the news of Mahaprabhu. But then, right after receiving sannyas, Mahaprabhu...
From the top, repeat.
So Mahaprabhu stayed in Puri because her mother requested him to stay in Puri so that he can hear the news, because so many Bengali devotees come to Puri. But then right after receiving sannyas, Mahaprabhu went to South India for 6 years.
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. So, I mean, for that time, his mother was...
Yeah, well, that's very good. That's very observant of you that you notice that significance of that. It means that many things are important. Gauda Deshe more dui shamashrai janani janobi ei dui doyamoy. That's important to Mahaprabhu. Gauda Deshe more dui shamashrai. I have two very important shelters in Gauda Desh. Janani janobi ei dui doyamoy. My mother and Ma Ganga. So Mahaprabhu, he announces, he proclaims publicly that I have deep affection for my mother. She's Jashoda Ma. She's not an ordinary being, Jashoda Ma. Tomorrow we'll hear about her activities after Nimai took sannyas. It is shocking. So Janani Janobi, Eidui Doyamoy. Mahaprabhu declares, he's not hiding that, he's not ashamed of that. He declares, I have great affection for my mother. She is a source of great shelter and she is a source of mercy. And what to speak of Janobi? It's like I was there 2 days ago, and I'm bathing, and I'm just like, we were in lockdown for 2 years in Mayapur. Almost every day we were bathing in Ganga. And then now we're leaving first time for 1 month. I was praying that, such a merciful, I pray I can come back. Take bath, longer. Janobi, Janani Janobi. So it's very important. So Sachimata very important. So he says, I shouldn't have taken sannyas. He says, what came over me? I shouldn't have taken sannyas. And then he says that you make an arrangement that I can keep your association, but not be ridiculed. So we'll see that Gauranga took sannyas. He never returned to Mayapur. He never saw Vishnupriya again. You imagine Vishnupriya? She's Loki Devi. She's Lakshmi. This Vankunta Patni. And you imagine how beautiful she is? Imagine how beautiful is Vishnupriya. 16 years old. She's serving Mahaprabhu. Cooking, And although she was very Vishnupriya was very dutiful in all of the household activities. And sometimes at night she would massage Mahaprabhu's lotus feet for hours. And Mahaprabhu, he was very much pleased by her service, but he never mentioned it to her. He was very much pleased. But you just imagine her devotion and Sachimata. But Mahaprabhu never compromised. She never came close again. Never. Mahaprabhu didn't go to Mayapur again. The sannyasi not even returning to the home, Mayapur. So therefore, there's several we were discussing the last few weeks is Vidyanagar. When he came to Vidyanagar, and then in all the Navadip Basis, they all came across the river. We were in the same village. We never knew who he was. Na janile taranubab, ek gram takle na janile taranubab. We didn't know his significance. So yes, it's important. The Sachimatas. So Mahaprabhu said to the devotees at that time, make an arrangement that I can have your association. And it won't be compromising principles of sannyas. So then the description is there. So then the conclusion was decided that Jagannath Puri. Even we could say Mahaprabhu's traveling and touring. That's also a little unusual. Generally the renunciates would stay in the holy dham at that time. Traveling would have been, perhaps you have some purpose, you go one place to the other place. But not like in ISKCON, we don't stay. Our mission is to always go new places. New places. His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj, reflecting on his association. We were here recently. He's Puri Bashi. Bhakti Purushottam Swami. He's born in Jagannath Puri. He's such a special person. On a Kodashi. He's born in Jagannath Puri. And he's the first sannyasi disciple of His Holiness Jaipataka Swami Maharaj, who has, 6 or 7 sannyasi disciples. And how did we get on to Bhakti Purushottam Swami? What was I saying before that? He was born in Puri, but before that, why did I say that?
Mahaprabhu never went to...
Okay. He never went to Mayapur. Huh? That's way back. Vishnupriya.
Not compromising the sannyas.
Yeah, that's way back. Okay, anyway, so they all came. Yeah. Okay, so then, now traditionally, we're on that point, yeah. Oh yeah, Bhakti Purushottam Swami, he started new preaching in the Assam tribal area. You see? Assam, new field. No devotees going there. This is the mood. This is the mood. Not that, we've done so much, so many centers, cruise around one center to the other, take prasadam. New. It's austere, new places, no facility, nothing, new places. That's the mood. Now Prabhupada sent these devotees. I know personally Prabhupada's disciples, after they joined the temple in London. After 3 days, Prabhupada told them to go and open a center in another country. They'd been devoted 3 days. What takes us now 10 years of attending Mangalarti, sadhana, filling out your sadhana sheet. In those days you could get in 3 days. Now it's 10 or 15 years before you become a temple president in some place. After 3 days, Prabhupada sent them to open a new temple. No, Prabhupada gave him a garland and said, he joined 3 days. Prabhupada gave him a garland and said, go to Wales and open a center. He did that. So generally the sannyasis would stay in the Dham. And just now you go to the Dham, you go to the holy places, Rishikesh, Haridwar, Rameshwaram, Dwarka, of course here Jagannath Puri. Many sadhus live here. And they do bhajan, and many genuine sadhus here and in Vrindavan. So even Mahaprabhu's tour of South India, that was extraordinary. That was for preaching. He went for preaching. This is our mood. So yes, the decision was there, Puri, and that's because Mahaprabhu, the devotees from Mayapur, Bengal, Godadesh could come. That's important. But in other words, Mahaprabhu, the relationships with devotees is very important to him. But we'll still see that there's other important things also, and they're more important than the affection of the devotees. Just like when Mahaprabhu is leaving for Vrindavan, at that time they're all fainting. Bhattacharya, Ramananda Roy, they're fainting. Mahaprabhu says, "You're fainting? Oh, forget that. I'll stay." You're fainting. You imagine that sannyasis, a guru, they leave, you faint? I mean, no one faints. Maybe devotees cry, a few, rare. It's not that you cry when the guru leaves. I mean, when he leaves permanently, but if he leaves goes to another temple, devotees don't cry. They're feeling, usually they're feeling exhausted. Feeling exhausted, but they don't cry. But these devotees, they faint. You imagine how much attachment? And you're leaving and the people, they all faint. They fall on the ground, they're unconscious. What would you do? You'd leave? You'd say, "Oh, forget it, I'll stay." But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya faints. Ramananda Roy, they faint. Mahaprabhu just goes. He just goes. So these things are there. He has his values and priorities, and he fulfills them. And the affection to Sachimata is an important thing. Affection to the Gauda Bhaktagon is an important thing. And then also he cuts that when it comes to preaching and just goes for preaching. So thank you, a good question. And we were able to, as a result of your stimulating question, we were able to explore some aspects of Mahaprabhu's personality, which are Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doya koroho bichar, bichar kore chitte pabe chamatkar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doya, the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, koroho bichar, just consider it. Bichar kore, when you consider it, chitte, in your heart, pabe chamatkar, you will be astonished. He has affection for Sachimata, he has affection for the devotees from Bengal, he has affection for so many of his servants. And he has the values of preaching and spreading Krishna consciousness.
Well, you have more questions. This is not from the today's discussion. So we hear that 6 Goswamis are the prominent disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we hear all the other 5 Goswamis pastimes with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but we don't hear Srila Jiva Goswami any pastimes where he associated with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Is it there some pastimes?
Well, he was young. That's the fact. He's the nephew of Rupa and Sanatan. And so when Mahaprabhu was... This Gopal Bhatta Raghunath Das Goswami. He was young, but he met Mahaprabhu in Shantipur, I think on 2 occasions, and served him directly. Raghunath Das Goswami, Mahaprabhu. But Jiva Goswami, so he was only young, so Nitya Sevani Mataji, she gave a lecture on Jiva Goswami recently, and she was saying that when Mahaprabhu went to Ramkelli and first met Rupa and Sanatana, Jiva Goswami was there, but he was very young, so probably there's not significant interaction, but there was some interaction there when Mahaprabhu was young, when Jiva Goswami was young. And that's it. Shall we, is 8:30, is Prasadam 8:30 or before? Prasadam is now 8:30. Prem Sankirtan? Prem Sankirtan. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasa Gaurabhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Madhusudan. Nitai Gauranga, Jai Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hare. Jai Nitai, 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 Nitai Nitai, 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 Gauranga. Nitai, Nitai, Gauranga, Gaura Hare. Nitai Gauranga Jaya, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hare. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo. Nitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo. Shri Nitai Gaur Siddhanatha Pramanande.